What's up, guys? My name is Wakas. I'm a second-year internal medicine resident in New York. And today I want to talk to you guys about fasting. Fasting is a component of many religions. It's a component of Islam. It's a component of Judaism, Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism. And, being a Muslim myself, I just got done with Ramadan 2 weeks ago or so. And during the month of Ramadan, we abstain from solids and liquids, any type of food from sunrise to sunset. So during this season, it was around from 5 a.m. and then it went backwards every day, like a minute or so. At the end, it was from 4 a.m. to kind of 8 p.m. And, my personal experience, I've been fasting since I was a kid, and every time Ramadan comes along, there's in the beginning period, I feel a little drowsy, I feel a little drained. But as the month progresses, your body gets used to waking up early in the morning, taking the calorie input in the morning, and then, going throughout the day without anything. And I feel like, and this is an opinion, but it has some scientific backing, which I'm going to tell you guys, I feel more focused, I feel more energetic. Especially if I wake up in the morning, eat, and don't go to sleep, and I have to do something physically taxing or mentally taxing that actually pushes me to the extent that my body can go, and it just provides me with a lot of focus. In the past, I did construction in the past. This was like 7 years ago. I used to work with this union worker who did some steel work in the city. We would go up on the roof and we repaired some copper. I don't even remember what it was, but it was manual labor. I had to carry up heavy like bricks sometimes like copper, like there were like sheets, like huge sheets, and a couple of them, take them up the ladder to the roof. Very physically taxing. I did that during Ramadan, and I was able to do it. I feel like what you realize during Ramadan is that your body and your mind is more capable than you think they are. They are able to handle anything you throw at them. It's just that the fear that you won't be able to handle it prevents you from kind of getting to the point where you can take a challenge on. But once you're in the challenge, once you are fasting, and then this thing comes along that you have to take your test, you have to do this manual labor job, your body and your brain actually step up to the platform and they handle it pretty well. I remember I also took my step one while I was fasting. I didn't know how I was going to perform. But, I had practiced prior and I had studied during Ramadan, and it was towards like the end or the mid Ramadan when I took my step one while fasting. And I have to tell you, I think I performed so much better than if I had been eating, drinking, or anything like, taking caffeine, coffee, or anything else. So personally, my experience with fasting is that it provides for more focus, it provides for more energy, and it gives you just more time to do things. You're not encumbered by your having to eat or having to crave caffeine, or you're craving this, or you want chocolate, or you want this and that. You don't have to go to a restaurant. You don't have to stand in line. You don't have to do anything. If you have work to do, you sit there, you get work done. You're not going to the bathroom to take, pee breaks because you're not drinking anything. You're not dehydrated. I didn't feel dehydrated. I drank water in the morning before 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning when I ate, drank like a glass of water, went throughout the whole day without needing to. Initially, definitely difficult. Initially, first couple of days, you do feel hunger pangs and you feel all of these, like, you feel a little foggy. But believe me, after a week, I felt like Superman. So that's what led me to kind of research this. So I went online, looked into journals, read some journals, scientific articles, and what I found, I'm going to post them for you guys down below, but from the consensus from all the journals I've read, they've done a lot of studies in the past on mice, on animals, on humans, on different types of fasting. And, fasting is associated with weight loss, depending on what type of fasting you do. There are like different types of fasting. There's alternate day fasting. There's 3 to 4 where you're fasting 3 days and you're, all you can eat the other 4 days. And then there's Ramadan fasting where you're not eating from sunrise to sunset. Different types of fasting. What they've shown in studies is that they can result in different amount of weight loss. So, but they all have weight loss associated with them because you're in the end decreasing the amount of calories you're putting into your body. Another factor that I found out, which was very surprising to me, is that when you're fasting, your brain acts like as if you were exercising. Fasting is a challenge for the body and the brain, just as exercise or cognitive exercise may be, and that they've shown from studies that increases your genes that transcribe and translate a protein called brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And this protein has been associated with neuroprotective and neurogenerative factors. That means that it helps with the brain's plasticity. It protects the brain from damage, be it like loss of blood flow or other types of like damages to the brain. And it helps the brain to develop. Like they show like 4 different parts of the brain, like the hippocampus and the brainstem, that showed increased activity of this factor, and which goes with your memory and your focus and everything. I will definitely post that article down below. And this factor has also been shown to be upregulated in people who exercise. People who do daily aerobic exercise is the same thing as fasting, and also cognitive exercise. So solving a math problem or something of that sort. They also showed fasting is cardioprotective, and because you're depriving your body of energy source like glucose, your body uses the stored energy that's in the liver. So you're using up the cholesterol you've stored over the years. You're using up the adipose tissue, the fat white cells in your body, which are around the trunk area. Your body tries to use all the other energy sources that are stored in your body for fuel, and that causes is decrease in your cholesterol. It causes decrease in your blood flow, because fasting upregulates your parasympathetic system, which is driven by acetylcholine. You have a decrease in heart rate, decrease in blood pressure, overall cardioprotective, decrease in cholesterol, unless when you break your fast, you're eating a lot of fried stuff. That will negate the cholesterol benefits. There have been studies done on people, on kids that were fasting, like teenagers or so that were fasting, and what they found was that they actually went up, their cholesterol went up during fasting, and that was because their sleep cycle was off the circadian rhythm, and they were also eating a lot of high cholesterol foods like deep fried chicken or something of that sort. So there are other factors that are involved, but fasting definitely has these benefits. And what throws the benefits of fasting off are if you break your fast, and you eat too rapidly. If you eat too rapidly right after breaking fast, that has been shown to negate the benefits. For example, eating really heavy food right after you break your fast, that kind of beats the point. Another very interesting point was that they've shown in studies that fasting can actually decrease your insulin resistance, which causes diabetes. So what happens is people eat a lot, they develop this trunk obesity, which develops into metabolic syndrome, where your body is not in homeostasis with the energy consumption and energy storage per se. So you're taking in a lot more than your body needs, and your body's trying to compensate. It's storing up energy. After a while, your pancreas isn't able to keep up with the glucose, and initially it pumps out a lot of insulin, but then it starts to slow down, and that is insulin resistance. And truncal obesity is a major risk factor, and part of trunk obesity is white adipose tissue. The fat gets stored around the belly in white adipose tissue. So what they've shown in people who fast is that fasting changes their gut microbiota. So there's different types of bacteria in your gut. And when you fast, your gut favors microorganisms that are able to turn your white adipose tissue to brown adipose tissue. The mechanism of that is complex. Basically, their fasting favors microorganisms that secrete a certain type of protein, which then goes on to convert or goes on to signal the conversion of white adipose tissue to brown adipose tissue. And brown adipose tissue helps the body come back into metabolic homeostasis. It decreases insulin resistance, and it decreases hepatic steatosis, which just means fatty liver, and which results from consumption of high caloric or fried foods, basically. So there you have it. Those are, I found this very intriguing. And fasting has many benefits, and fasting is not for everyone. Fasting is definitely not for you if you're sick. They actually did studies on people in ICU. So these people are, really sick. They're critically sick. It's called, intensive care unit, and they have, they're intubated, and then they have these feeding tubes going down from either their nose or their mouth into their stomach. And what there have been studies shown that the earlier you start feeding someone, they have better outcomes in survival, which means they get to leave the ICU and go on the recovery trail. So they've tried fasting in those patients. Actually, they stopped feeding for a certain amount of time, and then they feed through the feeding tube for a couple hours of the day, and then they have the patient fast. That actually showed no benefit. Actually showed harm. People did worse. So fasting is not for everyone. It's not for people who are sick. If you have type 1 diabetes, you shouldn't be fasting because you're taking insulin, and if you don't eat, then the insulin's going to cause hypoglycemia and can cause you to faint. So before you fast, you should definitely speak to your doctor if you have diagnosed disease, something like type 1 diabetes. But for normal, healthy 20 to 30 to 40 years old who don't have any kind of diseases, they might just have obesity, they're trying to lose weight, fasting can be beneficial if done right. So it has to be done right. You can't eat unhealthy and then fast. It won't give you the same result. You have to change your diet, eat healthy. You can't be eating fried stuff, high caloric foods. Like, you can't eat cake all the time. That will defeat the purpose of fasting. And you have to eat slowly so if you're fasting and you break your fast, you have to eat slowly. You can't eat really fast. You're gonna just bombard your system with nutrients, and is just going to defeat the purpose, and it's going to negate any benefit that the fasting might have had. So there are some details, some nuances that you have to be aware of to do this properly, because not everyone loses weight when they fast. And believe me, I know my whole family, they fast during Ramadan, but they always end up gaining weight, and that's because during Ramadan they have this huge feast with all the fried stuff, like samosas, anything fried chicken, everything is fried when you break your fast, and that completely defeats the purpose. of the health benefits that you can obtain. And I'm trying to educate my family also about this, to change that. And I'm also putting this out there for anyone else that's interested. And if you like this video, please press like and subscribe. I'll be making more videos like this in the future. And if you have any ideas on what you would like to see, or what you are more interested in, what you want to know, you want some data for a certain thing, why do doctors do something this way and not this way, feel free to leave a comment below. I'll do my best to respond. And like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.